Good evening. Welcome back to Trucker Talk 10-4. I'm Matthew, and today I'm sharing how I got started in the trucking industry. Everyone has a beginning, and this career has completely changed my life. If you're thinking about getting your CDL or you're just curious about the trucking industry, this one's for you. But I accidentally stumbled into the trucking career. And like I said, I'm gonna be making more and more of these episodes so you all can get to know more about me. But okay, let's here we go. What inspired me to be a truck driver? Well, I really didn't want to be a truck driver at the time, and I'm gonna go back to 2005. At the time, I was going through a custody battle son with my son's mother. And again, and I'm gonna do the disclaimer. I'm in no way, shape, or form here to speak ill will or anything like that. But I'm gonna just go into the story of how I became a truck driver. So at the time, we was going through a custody battle. I worked at Knoxville Coca-Cola. I was a merchandiser. I was working the local areas like Middlebrook Pike, Kingston Pike, Cedar Bluff. So one thing that I've learned about myself as I've been working on myself is and I go back to my past to see where my behaviors and my different patterns come from. So as I was going through this custody battle, I don't know, I find things to distract me. And I hope this story helps someone or it helps you identify your patterns and some of your behaviors that you do. But one thing I learned that I do is I find something to distract me to avoid the trauma or the situation that I actually got to process without processing it. So I grabbed me a book. I went to the DMV and I grabbed a book. And while I guess I was angry, I was grieving, I was upset, and going through the emotions with the custody battle because, of course, it's my son. I just started studying a book. And Inky Johnson, he had a conversation with somebody else, and he said, "People, you always look at somebody and you say, I wonder if that was what they was planning on doing or what they plan to do with their life. But life has a way of when a situation hits you, it can change your perspective. It changes things. And my original plans, and I tell this story to a lot of people. I was 18, 19, and originally I was like, I'm going to Carson Newman. I'm going to play football. I thought I was going to the NFL. Let me say why I'm laughing because you can make plans and God will laugh at your plans. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to the NFL, baby. What I'm gonna do? Skirt. Okay, so that didn't happen. So again, so I have this beautiful child. He's being brought into this world, and so back to this to the story. I was going through a custody battle, and I was losing my mind. I was upset, and I started studying this CDL book. Be a truck driver. I didn't know nothing about air brakes. I didn't know nothing about the glad hands, the landing gears, the fifth wheel, pre-trip, post-trip. Nathan, I didn't know Nathan. But somehow when I'm going through something, it feels like I can comprehend and I can absorb information and I store it, but I'm learning it, but it's still again blocking me from the pain and the suffering that I'm going through because I guess it's comforting to me. I guess it's some way of just covering it up instead of going out drinking, smoking, and this and that. It was a way of me covering up the hurt and the pain that I was actually going through. So that's how I got started in the trucking industry. I was going through a custody battle. I picked up a book and I started studying and learning about truck driving. So fast forward, I was a merchandiser at Coca-Cola. My boss, Roy, I got started with him. And the funny thing about this story is he was a military guy. He was straight to the point, straight by the book. Here I am, I'm a young dude, cocky, got an ego, attitude. Yeah, he killed all that. And me and him, we bumped heads a little bit because I was still a young brother trying to. I had that mentality, you know. So as I was going through my custody battle, and as I was in my introduction into driving, it was very interesting because at Coca Cola we had 7 speeds. And I don't know if any of y'all know what those up was, but we had 7 speeds. Some of the trucks had AC. Some of the other trucks didn't. So going down the interstate, 65 miles an hour, that was your air conditioning. And I don't quote me on this, but I think the speed limit back then it was like 60. It's 70 now, depending on what area you in, but it was 65 miles an hour. So I would always look forward to the end of the day because I could roll both windows down and I'd be like, this feels good. So, but yeah, so starting at Coca-Cola, I I had to overcome a lot of obstacles because I had to learn communication skills. I had to learn customer service. I had to learn how to take constructive criticism, feedback, and I had to learn how to be a team player. So being in my early 20s, again, I'm processing going through the custody battle and I'm processing stepping into this new role as a truck driver. So it was very difficult because we had 16 bay door or the silo truck, 16 bay doors. So you're stacking the product, out. You got a piece of paper, depending on what stop you're at, whether you're at Weigels, Walgreens, CVS, or wherever, and you're looking at the product. So I will say I'm grateful for that experience at Coca-Cola because, for one, they helped me get my CDL. I stayed there for 12 years. I drove for 9 years. But as I was there, I learned the customer service skills. I learned the do's and the not. I learned what to do and what not to do. I learned how to drive in and out of these gas station parking lots. And also I learned a lot of things. And so learning to drive a tractor trailer, the nerves during training and testing. Mr. Lacey, I will never, ever, and I got to tell this story. We was getting off of Middlebrook Pike, and I'm still learning how to change gears and shift. I never forget, he had his legs not crossed up, but he had his leg up. He was just chilling over there. And I'm coming off the interstate and I'm sitting here like, I got the clutch. I'm like this. And I'm trying to find the gear, this and that. And he looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to find a gear." So with no hesitation, Lacey took that clutch. He did like that. And he popped it in the gear. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow. But my problem was I was trying to float gears. I learned that you can rev the RPMs up and you don't have to double clutch because back then you can double clutch, but it's smoother. But if you rev your RPMs up so high, you can just slide on like boom, just slide on in. So he did that. And I struggled for a long time. But I mean, it's one of those things. Practice, it takes repetition and you can get better at it. So the longer I stayed at Coca-Cola, the better I got at driving the stick shifts. So the biggest lesson you learn as a new driver. Well, the biggest lesson I learned as a new driver is nobody cares that you're a new driver. These gas stations, these The customers, the people that are in or out, they don't care. They don't care. So as a new driver, you have to be cautious. You have to use good judgment and of course look at your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on. Because if you don't, you're going to hit something and then that's going to be a problem. So building confidence over the years. Over the years, I built my confidence, but I built my confidence when I went to Cisco in Knoxville. Cisco in Knoxville, whew, I can make a bunch of episodes about that. I'm gonna just be a little brief about it. You had to back your trailer into Happy Meals. You had to park in these little parking lots. You had to drive through the mountains, drive in these neighborhoods. If it fit, it ships. It's gonna go somewhere. You're gonna be delivering to a house, you're gonna be delivering to a church. You're delivering everywhere. It was wild. I learned a lot. I got a lot of experience driving in and out of state. I got a lot of backing experience. It made me a better driver. In 2018, I got my hazmat endorsement. In September 2018, I got my hazmat endorsements, my triples and doubles, and I got my tankers. And again, at that time, a friend of mine, Harold, his health was declining. And at that time I was grieving. He didn't even die yet, but he was slowly declining. So I kept my mind busy and I ended up obtaining those endorsements, which they helped me out later because when I left Cisco in 2022, I went to Taylor Lubricants and I used my hazmat endorsement and my tankers endorsement. My triples and doubles endorsement, I used that at Cisco back when COVID hit in 2020. We had to shuttle back and forth to Nashville. Me, Michael Preston, David Higgins, Steve Novotny. We was in different times, and I swear, well, I'm gonna say I swear, the world was different then. It kind of scared me because I'm thinking, when I'm looking at the TV and I see the NBA game and they got fake people in the stands, I'm like, man, what kind of world are we living in? It kind of gave me a different perspective on life. But as far as how my experiences open up new opportunities, me getting all of my endorsements, it's opened a lot of doors for me. I would have never worked at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Like I said, I would have never worked at Taylor Lubricants if I didn't have my hazmat. So it's opened up a lot of doors. The importance of always learning and staying professional. You have to stay professional. Sometimes these people on the road can be vicious. They can be some vicious people and they don't care how big your trailer is. They will cut you off, cut in front of you. They don't care. But my advice for any new drivers, don't compare your journey to someone else's. Be patient. Experience comes with time. Focus on safety over speed. Keep your record clean. Invest in yourself. And keep your endorsements current. So me closing this is, my trucking journey has been full of lessons, growth, and opportunities. If you're thinking about getting into trucking, don't be afraid to start. Every experienced driver was once a beginner. Thanks for listening to Trucker Talk. Stay safe. Keep the sunny side up, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Gotta be careful.